because in order Oh, perfect. In order for you to access any of the resources, you have to have the VPN. You have to have Pulse Secure. So I'm really happy about that. And then I'm going to quickly show you our COVID information page. I know some of you may be in the library, and if you are, that's great. And I'm going to walk through that. We're going to take a quick look at literature reviews. I'm going to show you the subject guides and how you can get help with finding the literature for your projects and your classes. And then I'm going to show you hopefully a tool that can help you to locate your journals pretty seamlessly. Okay, so let's get to the library's webpage. So this is the library's main webpage. And then for those of you, most of you, you were great. You said yes about that you already have Pulse Secure, which is amazing. Now listen, since we are in this remote environment, UC Davis Library, I'm so happy about our library. Out of all of the 10 campuses, I'm kidding, out of all of the 10 campuses, we were the only campus that was open during the pandemic. No other UC was open during the pandemic. So I think that's a testament to really how we really care and want to provide services, make sure our community of researchers get what they need. When you're using the VPN, I did want to point this out really quickly. If you encounter any problems with the VPN, like if it's something you can't connect or the server that you have is telling you it's not right, make sure you come to the page, to our access the VPN page, scroll down, and make sure you put in a technical support request. Our IT members are really on point, and once you submit a ticket, they will contact you very quickly, and they will help you figure out what your issue is and help you get on your way. Make sure when you put in your problem details to be as thorough as possible. That way that will help them troubleshoot your issue rather quickly. So I'm hoping though that you don't encounter any problems with Pulse Secure, but just in case if you do, make sure you take a look and submit that ticket. So let's get back to our page here. Now, for those of you who are on campus, who have gone to the library, like I said, we're one of the few that actually libraries that have been open during the pandemic. One of the main things you have to do, you have to complete your daily symptom survey. You need to make sure you have that in order to gain access into the library. And of course, you have to do your COVID-19 testing. So of course, don't forget those steps that you do have to do in order to get to campus. So I am scrolling down here because there are a couple of services I want to point out that you can utilize right now for those of you who are not on campus, who are all over the US, you're not even in California, but you need these resources. So if you take a look, we do have some services that I'm hoping will hang around for a little while longer, even after we transition out of the pandemic. So we do have a shipping service, and I hate you have to scroll all the way down, but this shipping service is rather unique because the shipping service, you could get any item shipped to you, whether it's a book, whether it's a DVD, whatever it is that you need shipped, we will get it shipped to you at no cost. And we will also give you the resource you need to ship it back to the library at no cost. The caveat here is that you have to be off campus. You cannot be on campus. You have to be off campus. That's the only way this service works. Now, we do have an amazing scanning service. So let's say hypothetically, there is a book that you want, but you, after looking at the contents, the table of contents digitally, you're like, I don't really need the whole book. I only want a couple of chapters. Well, that's the benefit of utilizing the scanning service. The scanning service, you can submit your information. Someone will definitely take the time, scan those items for you, and then they will get them back they will email them to you. So you would get those items back. So that's one of the nice things about the scanning service. And we do have that service as well. All right, so I'm just checking, make sure nothing's going on in chat. Okay, great. All right, so let's move on. And I'm sorry for the fast scrolling. So let's get back here. So I did create a guide specifically just for this class. And the best way to get to that guide, if you would actually go to subject guide, course guides, and then if you tap in, just type in NSF, just type in NSF and give it a second. It will be the third one to populate. And selecting, and this is the guide that I have created specifically for this class. And I will, for the most part, be teaching and showing everything from this guide. Okay, so if at any time after the presentation, if you have any questions, just remember I'm here as a resource. Do not hesitate to contact me. You can always shoot me an email, or if you want to set up a virtual appointment, you can select this link here and then find a date that's conducive with your schedule. I will get an email and I will email you a Zoom link, and then we'll go ahead and have a virtual consult. So for those of you who have not had a chance to physically see the library because of the pandemic, I would like to show you a very brief little tour. And please let me know if you pop in the chat, if you don't hear it, just let me know, but I'm hoping you can. All right, so here we go. Okay, so that is just a little bit of a glimpse of what the library looks like for those who haven't had a chance to visit the library. I just wanted you to get a chance to see what it looked like pre-COVID-19. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of our research. So let me get back to the guide here, and I'm just checking, make sure everything you can hear and see my screen okay, right? Because for whatever reason, my other part just disappeared. All right, so let me get back to the guide. All right, here. So let's get back to our guide here. All right, perfect. Okay, so we took a look at our little virtual video, and then after this presentation, please take the time, if you don't mind, to share your feedback about this presentation. It would really help me out a lot. That way I would know what I need to improve on to make it better. All right, so we covered a good bit of some of the things that I think are really important, the main, at least, aspects of this presentation. So we are definitely going to talk about literature reviews. So here in the quick links, I do have links to things like Connect Off Campus. Of course, that's a VPN. Interlibrary loan requests. Interlibrary loan requests are requests that you make. Let's say hypothetically, there's a full text article that you can't figure out how to get access to. If you have to put in an interlibrary loan request, our department, they're really efficient. They will get that to you as efficiently as possible. My rule of thumb is, of course, when you start your research, try to start at least a little bit of time, a little ahead of time, because you want to make sure you give other departments, at least for interlibrary loan, enough time to get your resources, get a resource if you really need them. So let's talk about literature reviews. So basically, when you talk about literature reviews, when your professor or your instructor actually tells you, hey, I need you to do a literature review, what they're really getting you to do is to help you to understand get a very deep understanding of a topic through summarizing, critiquing, and also synthesizing. One of the nice things about conducting a literature review is that when you conduct a literature review, you really are becoming an expert in this particular topic, because that whole process will help provide context for research. It will also help to identify new ways to interpret prior research. And then one thing that to remember when conducting literature reviews, when you're going through that process, it also helps to review gaps that may currently exist in the literature. And that's a big part of it. So I'm going to show you when we conduct a searching, and I'm going to do a quick search in Google. I'm going to show you some really quick ways to search Google, but I want you to be smart about it. And then we'll also go look at the databases. One of the nice things about Google Scholar is that when you do an advanced search in Google, you can actually look at a thesis or a dissertation. And I always recommend students as researchers to go straight for the literature reviews, because the literature reviews, that's where you're going to find the crux. That's the foundation of what that researcher used to write their thesis or their dissertation. Now, and like I said, remember, pop questions in the chat, because I can see the chat very clearly. So based on your level of an analysis, a literature review can do the following. Like I said, it can help you to understand what is known. So you're pulling, researching, you're going to various databases, you're getting a full breadth of what is known, what's out there, what's available for your specific topic. And then another thing a literature review does, it helps you to understand what is not known about the topic. So you're doing your research and you're like, well, I'm not finding much about X, or I'm not finding much about Y. Okay. And I've done my due diligence. I've really taken the time to research. Not only did I look at the databases and looked at peer-reviewed content, but I'm not finding much on this particular topic. Hence, that could be where the gap of knowledge is lacking. And that's your job, since you're doing the research, if you can, to fill in that gap. Another thing that literature reviews help with, they actually help to trace the intellectual progression of the field. So you are starting with you're looking at a concept over the trajectory of from when it started and where it is now, and that's how you can actually identify the gaps in this literature. So it helps you to look at the progression of a specific field. And then literature reviews also help you to identify methodologies for conducting your research, whether or not this methodology, they really did a robust research. They looked at they did qualitative researching or they did quantitative researching. So it helps you to identify what specific methodologies the researcher used to conduct the research. And then you also get to critique theories and perspectives on a topic. So all in all, the purpose of a literature review, when you get that call to do a literature review, don't freak out. It's a good thing because at the end, you're really going to know and have a strong foundational context of what this topic is about. It provides background information. Literature reviews establish importance. It helps you to demonstrate familiarity with that topic, and it also carves out a space for further research. So those are the pluses of conducting a literature review. And I'm just checking the chat. I don't see any questions there, so that is good to know. So since you all are mathematicians and you're physical sciences, science researchers, I wanted to make sure that this guide highlighted specific databases that are germane to your subject areas. So I did want to talk about, now, before I do that, let's do this. Let me go to Google, because I did mention Google. And I know how many of you can pop in the chat, how many of you, this is where you start when you do research. Just pop it in the chat, yes or no. Everybody goes to Google. I'm sure this is going to be full of yeses. Yep, look at that. Everybody goes to Google. Yeah, I get it. So now I want to show you, when you go to Google, I want you to be smart about it. So how many of you are familiar with Google Scholar? And if you would pop yes in the chat for me. Okay, that's good to know. Perfect. Yes, perfect. How many of you have used Google's advanced search? So some say yes, yes. Okay, perfect. All right. So when you start in Google, no worries, not mostly. Okay, so when you start in Google, this page here, this is useful. I mean, this is useless. Don't do this. Don't just start here in Google. So let's take a look at Google's advanced search. Now, this is my recommendation. My recommendation is when you're just getting context about a specific topic, start in Google Advanced Search and Google Scholar. But I don't want you to stay in Google Scholar and Google Advanced Search. This gives you, like, it provides a landscape of what's out there. But I promise you, your best way to access scholarly content is to use our databases. And because in our databases, you can ascertain whether or not you want scholarly peer-reviewed content. And then I'm going to show you how there's a foolproof way for you to learn whether or not if an article is actually published in a peer-reviewed journal. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so let's go to Google's advanced search. One of the nice things about Google's advanced search, you pop in a search. I was helping a student do some research on wearable technology. So let's just pop in that search, wearable technology. So now I am going to tell Google, I just don't want hits all over the place about wearable technology. Right now, I'm focusing on electronic thesis or dissertations. So if you just type in ETD here, this is telling Google to search electronic thesis or dissertations. And then we're going to scroll down a little bit. You can also tell Google what site or domain you want them to pull content from. As researchers, I always recommend that you use .edu, which is for education, of course, or .gov. Those are my top two as researchers. .com, .net, .org could be a little dicey. And I say that because they may have a specific bias toward their research. And as a researcher, you always want unbiased information. And you want to write your research in a way that it is unbiased. All right, so for the sake of this, let's do .edu. And I'm going to tell Google, I really just want PDFs because I just want to be able to take a look at the thesis or dissertation. So I'm going to hit advanced search. And then I should have received hits that were either thesis or dissertations. So let's just take a look at the first one, evaluating effective. This looks like something that might be useful. And then you scroll down and then you can take a look at, let's see, so this is a thesis. Okay, submit it. And then the table of contents, and each university is different. But if you notice, we just talked about literature reviews. So I am looking to see, and I'm going to go back up here. I don't see it here. I'm looking to see where I could find their literature review, because the literature review is, like I said, that is the money. That talks about what they use to actually look at this research and to help them pull together their research. So it looks like chapter 2 talks about in detail with their methods. Another thing I want to bring to your attention, when you are at least writing literature review, conducting research, and a lot of times students forget this, but you can't forget this because this will help you research stronger and smarter. Always, 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 always make sure you take a look at the references. And the reason why you want to look at the references is because the references, this is what they built their research on. And if you vet the references the same way you vet the article or this thesis that we're looking at, chances are there may be a reference within these references that would be germane or translate to your research. So that is why looking at the references is so important. So that was a quick review of using Google's advanced search, and then taking a look at the ETD, the electronic thesis or dissertation, which is very useful. So here we are. Look at this, chapter 2. This is their literature review. And one good thing about looking at literature reviews, if it's done well, it's going to talk about, of course, how they got to doing their research. It's going to cover, at least make a sincere effort to vet the content that's available out there. And then if it's done well, they may actually even have in their thesis or dissertation areas where we can improve our research or areas where the research is lacking. So that's something else to take a look at. But look at this, a complete example of their literature review. They have it spaced nicely, and it's plain sight, their chapter 2. So that's one of the pluses about using Google's advanced search. And then not only can you look at .edu, you can also look at any region. So if you wanted to focus on Australia or Spain and not just the United States, you can break it down that way. So that's one of the nice things about using Google's advanced search. Now, most of you said that you were familiar with Google Scholar, which is a good thing because, like I said, I don't want you to start with plain Google because that is a total waste of your time. So let's do wearable technology. Most of you are familiar with the interface for Google Scholar. Now, one thing Google Scholar does not do, when you're conducting research, and if someone would pop in the chat, what is the one thing Google Scholar does not do that the databases would do? Can anyone guess? I want you to think about that. So I would hope that you all have at least spent some time searching some of the databases like Web of Science, that's more germane to mathematics and physical science, sciences, IEEE perhaps for those who are dabbling a little bit in the engineering. So what do you think Google Scholar does not do that the databases do? Think about that and pop that in the chat. Yeah, provide the full article. Yep, spot on. You guys are definitely, yeah, because sometimes you're not going to get the full article in Google Scholar. You can't access certain types of articles. Yep, you are spot on. And then one other thing that Google Scholar will not do, yeah, the more you know. There you go. So one thing Google Scholar does not do Google Scholar will not tell you if an article is peer reviewed. That's just not the business they are in. They're not going to tell you. So when your professor tells you, I would like for you to conduct your literature review, and I want all of the resources to be peer reviewed, in essence, what does that mean? And you guys feel free to pop that in the chat. When they tell you they want peer review, what do you think that means? Any site? Okay, you're getting there. Anyone else? Credible individuals, field proofread. Very close. Yes, very close. Good science. You guys are right in the room, that's for sure. So when a professor, yes. So when your professor tells you, I want peer-reviewed articles, that's it, just peer-reviewed. That means, and you guys, Isabel and Leanne, you guys right there with it. Peer-reviewed means that those articles have been vetted to meet academic standards. So it went through a peer review process. So this is something I want you to understand. All peer-reviewed articles are scholarly. All peer-reviewed articles are scholarly, but all scholarly articles are not peer-reviewed. So when an article is peer-reviewed, let's say you're researchers, you all wrote an article and you want to publish your article in IEEE Engineering and Medicine and Biology. So you submit your article. That board, editorial board, is going to do one of three things. They have an editor and they have an editorial board, members of subject matter experts, like someone alluded to, people who understand the research that you've done, subject matter experts. They're going to read your research and they're going to do one of three things. They're going to vote, yes, this is an excellent article. The research is spot on. We want to publish it. Or they're going to do two, well, we would like to publish your article, but we have a couple of questions and we would like for you to clear up a couple of things. Or the third one is, I'm sorry, your work does not meet the standards of this publication and we will not be publishing your article. So those are the one to three things. So if it's peer reviewed, it went past not only did the editor view the content, but an editorial board looked at your research and voted and say, hey, we want to have this article in our journal. So that's what peer reviewed means. So let's take a look at this. So I'm going to, let's see. So let's take this. This is the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation. I will be very honest with you. I do not know if this journal, if it's peer reviewed or not, but I'm going to show you a way that you can find out. So if you go to the guide and if you scroll down, as you see, I have a ton of resources here for you. And if you scroll down under this area that says peer-reviewed scholarly trade, there is a resource called Ulrich's Periodicals Directory. So let's take a look at this. Ulrich's Periodical Directory is a directory that will tell you whether or not if a journal is peer-reviewed or not. This is a lifesaver. So this will help you because you can always Google the journal, find the page where they have the editorial board. And if you see an editor and a list of board members, that tells you, yes, that it's peer reviewed, but this is a shortcut. So let's see if the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation is peer reviewed. Okay, so let's take a look at this. And I'm looking at the chat. Okay, good. I don't have anything else in chat. So this little symbol here means referee or referred. So this means that this journal is peer reviewed. So any journal that has the referee, looks like a referee, any journal that has this symbol, that means that these journals are peer reviewed. So if I wanted to use this article for my research, and I know my professor said it has to be peer reviewed, I know I looked here and it's peer reviewed, so I'm happy with it. So that is how you can discern whether or not if a journal article is peer reviewed. Utilize Ulrichs. It is a definite lifesaver. Okay, and then I also break down, like I said here, what peer reviewed is. And as I alluded to earlier, not all scholarly literature is peer reviewed. Scholarly literature is written by the experts, but the editor reviews the article and decides publication. So in that case, there's no peer review. So that's why I said not all scholarly articles are peer reviewed, because the editor has the final say for some journals, but for others with an editorial board, that's when it is peer reviewed. All right, so let me check the chat. Any questions for what we went over so far? So I don't see any questions in the chat. All right, so let's take a look. I do want to show you a couple of databases. Okay, so MathSciNet. MathSciNet is a unique database, as it is not like other databases because it's a mathematics database. This really is the best math database that we have at UC Davis. It's one of the best in the world, and this is a strong database. The results when you search MathSciNet, it's a little wonky, but once you get accustomed to using the interface, it's really not that bad. So I'm going to do a search called knot theory, right? And I'm just going to hit search. So I just want to show you the interface and what it looks like. So this is how MathSciNet reviews, how it aggregates and sends you results. One of the nice things I do like about this database, and most databases will do this, but not all of them, it of course gives you a breakdown of the item type, which is very useful. Then if you take a look at the institutions, it actually gives you a breakdown of the institutions. And I think this is so useful because it helps you to understand what institutions are really leading the way with specific research on that specific topic. And like most databases, it also gives you a breakdown of the authors who focus in that particular area. Now, I did want to let you know, and I don't want you to be freaked out about this, but the library, we're actually transitioning to a new cataloging system come July 27th. So as you see, and you'll see this when I get to other databases, you'll see here where it says UCDE links. That will change to get it at UC links. So when you see the other icon here, don't freak out. It's going to function the same way as the UCDE links functions. It's just going to look a little different. So if we were interested in this particular article, all you would have to do is take a look here. And then information will populate about the ISN number, and then whether or not the citation factors, how many times has this article has been cited, which is nice because that brings me to this. Let me get back to, this is what I was looking for. That brings me to this. Now, as you really get involved in your research, you're going to want to know the journal impact factor for your specific article. And Web of Science does a really good job of letting you know the impact factor of an article. And basically, the impact factor, it allows you to know how many times an article has been published within the last couple of years. And for some researchers, that is really very important. So let's take a look here, and let's go to Journal Citation Reports. So remember, I did a search earlier. We cut and paste this journal. So let's see, this is the Journal of Neuroengineering Rehabilitation, right? Let's go back to the Journal Citation report. And I want to see what is the journal impact for this specific journal. So let's see if it's going to give me that information. This is the journal name. So the journal has been around, and this is some of the really cool information you get about that specific journal. So the journal has been around for quite a while, and it does a really good job of actually publishing high quality site articles. High quality articles are cited in this journal. And this is just information. So it makes you as a researcher know that you've really done your due diligence. Okay, so I got an article from this rehabilitation journal and it has a pretty high journal impact factor. So I feel confident that the articles that I am pulling from this specific journal produces strong quality research. So now, a quick thing to realize, not all of the journals have a journal impact factor, but a lot of your high-end, well-published journals will have an impact factor, which I think as a researcher, you'll find very useful. So I did want that keyed me to show you that, because this is actually something new that Math SciNet started doing, and I'm glad they are doing this. So this is almost in concert with the journal impact factor from the Web of Science, the ones that I just showed you here. This is by Web of Science. So now, speaking of Web of Science, I have a question for you. How many of you have used Web of Science before? And if you pop yes in the chat, I'd love to know that, because that's going to be the next database I'm going to demo right quick. Any of you have used Web of Science before? Let me get to my databases here. So I am looking. And if you have not used Web of Science, feel free to say no, you haven't used Web. Okay, no. Perfect. All right. So here's the thing. Web of Science, I am not kidding. They just refreshed their website. So this is a totally different interface. Now, one thing I want you to take a look at. When you look at Web of Science, they actually create all of this content. But since you are mostly in the field of mathematics and physical sciences, the core collection is going to be the best database I would recommend that you use. And I just want you to get a feel for how it does have a new look, doesn't it, Annalise? Isn't this nice? And I'm really I'm really partial to purple. I'm so pitiful. I love purple, or whatever this color is. So yes, it's got a nice interface, right? All right, so I want to show you some nuances of Web of Science, because they actually did some upgrades, which is kind of cool. All right, so okay, so before I do a search, does anyone have a search they would like for me to do? And we'll see what kind of hits we get. And if you don't, I have a search I can do, but I just wanted to see if there were any type of suggestions from the group. Yeah, give me your research topic and let's see what we can find. We have any brave souls? Okay, so let's go with ABM and wildfires. All right, so let's try that. ABM. All right, so I'm just going to do a search. And you see that tells you we've improved the search results, praise. No, we don't have time to look around, but maybe later on. Okay, so let's take a look at some of how they've actually redesigned their interface. So one of the nice things the only way I can search in Web of Science right now, as you see down here, I'm already logged into Pulse Secure. So if you know you want to do Pulse, if you know you're going to be searching, make sure you log into Pulse Secure. And thank you for answering that question, because I was going to ask what was ABM, agent-based models. Okay, perfect. That's so perfect. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so with that in mind, so now you can always take a look, of course, and you see the UCDE links, that's going to change. So after looking at this, are there any of these articles that look like they may work? Yes, Annalise is spot on. Web of Science is also great for biology, chemistry, interdisciplinary, in all areas of science, especially, and I didn't choose this one, and Annalise, to your point, if you actually come here, I'm searching under the Web of Science collection because, like I said, I know your mathematics, and but if you want to do deep sciences, especially anything with cellular biology and biology, biosis is like simply amazing. Biosis is amazing. Okay, so so I'm going to, for the sake of this search, I'm going to spell out ABM. So I'm going to do agents. I'm going to see if we're going to get more hits. Agent-based models and wildfires, and let's see. So now look at that. Remember when I first did ABM, we only got 7 hits. I did this search and we got 69. Oh, yes. And
because it's all areas of science, sometimes if you use an abbreviation, like math might use that abbreviation for one thing, chemistry might use it for another, physics might use it for another. So sometimes the abbreviations will give you too many hits instead of the more specific ones that you want for your area.
Yep, absolutely. Annalise, thank you. Yes, yes, that is so spot on. And as you see, I didn't use ABM. And look at this, we got 69 hits because I spelled it out. So yes. So one of the nice things that the new interface does is that it really helps you to identify open access articles, early access articles as well. And early access articles, and they only have one, but early access articles are articles that it's like they're giving you access to this article, even though it's not really supposed to be published just yet, but you have access to it. So I think that's a very nice feature. And then, of course, it breaks down the document types, articles, proceedings. Proceeding papers are excellent resources to use because these are the practitioners that are in the field and they are working on this data like right now. So proceeding papers are excellent to use. Your review articles are in essence your literature reviews for Web of Science. And then it goes on to break down the science categories, which is nice. So you can hone your search even deeper and you can select environmental sciences. So out of the 69 hits, if we were interested in environmental sciences, we're going to shrink our search and get 14. Then it also, just like we saw at Math SciNet, it also breaks down and gives you the top authors, which is nice. And then it gives you more affiliations. So they've done a really, really fine job. I do like the interface of using this. So one thing I do want to show you before I get to one other database that I think you might find useful. Remember how we were looking at the various citations? So here, Web of Science, they have been very conscientious and they're telling you how many times this article has been cited. Now, one thing I do want to point out, I don't want you to not utilize an article because it has a low citation. And I've heard a lot of students, well, I don't think I want to use this article, it's been cited once. Okay, so don't negate that research because it doesn't have a ton of citations. There are a ton of variables that can impact why that article doesn't have those a ton of citations. If it was vetted, if it's a peer-reviewed article and it was vetted, that means it's a strong article. And just so you would know, Web of Science, anything you get in Web of Science is peer-reviewed. Because Web of Science, this is the company that creates the journal impact factors. So anything they have within their database is going to be peer-reviewed. So one thing I do want to show you before I get away from Web of Science, let's say hypothetically, you want to know if a researcher at UC Davis is doing research in your area. So I want to know if we have any researchers at UC Davis, since we are a research institution school, I want to know if we have any researchers that's conducting research on agent-based model and wildfires. So that trick, to do that, you select add a row. Now I'm going to type in the zip code, and my gosh, I haven't been on campus in so long. I don't remember the zip code. It's not 95616. Isn't that it? I think that's it. 95616. And then, thank you. And then, Metzley, I'm going to come and answer your question as well. Okay, 95616. And then what I want to do, I'm going to add address, because I want to know if there are any researchers in the UC Davis that are actually working on agent-based models in wildfires. So I'm going to hit search, and let's see if we get. So no, not that one. So let's try ABM in wildfires. And let's see, ABM, nope. So maybe it doesn't like my search, or maybe we just don't have any researchers. However, let's see if we have researchers on UC Davis campus that are focusing on wildfires. I'm going to hit search. And then what happens is it will give you a list. You can always take a look at their names. So these researchers, they are affiliated with UC Davis. And that's one of the nice features that you can search with Web of Science. You can actually put in the zip code, and then you can see whether or not if any of these researchers are connected to UC Davis. So now let me try to answer question. Yes, can also try agent-based models. You know what, Annalise, let's try that one. Let's just take a look at that one and see. Let's just do agent-based models, and and the reason why we're putting in the parentheses is telling the database, I want these specific words. These words need to be in my search. Haha, and look at that. Annalise, that was spot on, because we put in agent-based models, and this is what we got. So as you can see, one of the cool things about doing research is that there are no magic bullets, right? You have to keep honing in, figuring out what keywords are going to work, and just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And then, so we came up with 8 specific articles. So that's Web of Science, and that's how you can figure out whether or not, if you have any researchers on UC Davis campus who are focusing on this type of research. And what I did is applicable to any zip code, right? So if you know the zip code to Temple, you can do Temple. If you know the zip code to MIT, you can do MIT. So it's the same application. All right, so let's see. Yes, that's an excellent point. It can be great for grad school searching. Okay, so now let me see if I can answer Metzley's question. Are these search bars sensitive to capitalization? So it would be better to write a chemical formula, CUL, or write it out. I think as you can see, I guess it depends on, I would think it depends on what kind of hits you get. So if you look, we spelled out agent-based models in the first search, and we got more hits, and we did ABM, and we got fewer hits. So the data, how it works, the algorithms are going to pull in. You may not get a whole lot if you don't spell it out, but it may give you a much more tighter search. So for a researcher, I would do both. I think for a researcher, I would do both. So now there's one other database before I go, because I know my time is up. It's getting very close. Let me get back to our guide here. And oops. One other database that I think outside of Web of Science, and I know this is more on, it might be more on the engineering side, but Compendex is an amazing engineering database. It's also the excellent database for physical sciences as well. I'm going to do wearable technology, because I just want you to see the interface for Compendex. And it has a very unique interface. Remember this UCDE links, this is going to change, but it has excellent controlled vocabulary searching, which unfortunately is not Web of Science strong suit. So what the controlled vocabulary does, it gives you synonyms or different ways to search the word that you were initially searching. Compendex does a fabulous job with controlled vocabulary. So we did wearable technology, and if you take a look, you got wearable sensors, wearable computers, flexible electronics, wearable antenna. So these are just controlled vocabulary. Unfortunately, Web of Science doesn't do that, but Web of Science does have other strong capabilities as a database. So as a researcher, you will figure out what database you'll figure out. I would hope that you would explore the various databases, because as you see, we have quite a few, and just figure out which one is actually one of the best to get content to you. And then, of course, our catalog, the library's catalog, that's going to be changing because of SILs. But I always recommend you do an advanced search to get topics, to get more hits than the basic search. And you can always utilize our catalog to find resources as well. And I'm sure I had more stuff on wearable technology, but because I can't spell, that's why. Well, that would help. Yeah, that would do it. Because I know we should have more hits on wearable technology than what we got. That makes more sense. Okay, my time is up. Questions. And I will stop sharing my screen. And I'm checking here to see if we have any questions. And I don't see any questions in the chat.
Yeah, it looks like Yali has a question about statistics and data science database.
Oh, okay. Let me scroll up. So I was wondering if you have any recommended statistics. Yes, we do. So thank you so much for that question. If you get to the libraries, and I'm trying to get to the libraries page here, and I need to definitely add that. And I thought I had, let me double check something, because I really thought I had statistics on our guide. And if I don't, I need to add it. Okay, engineering, I explore, Gartner, scope is okay. Then I need to add it. I thought I had the statistics database, because we do have a specific, okay, here we go. So this is, I knew I added it. So this is a statistics database that I recommend.
I see Lolita moving. I think we might have lost Melinda. You're still muted, Lolita.
Yeah, I think so. So hopefully she will
make a mental note, current index to statistics. Okay, I need to make a mental note that I need to take a look at that. But yes, to answer your question.
Okay, Melinda, you cut out for a moment there.
Oh.
Would you mind repeating that?
Oh, sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, I need to double check and see what is going on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Because I know I had, God, what is that? I know what I want to search. I knew I had experimented and loaded. I wanted to make sure I got all of the databases germane to mathematics and statistics. But this is, and as you see, this database, it really is very close to MathSciNet, but it does focus specifically on statistics. I'm just going to do a quick search here. And the interface is somewhat similar to MathSciNet, but it's a little different. So yes, to answer your question. Okay. And I will stop sharing my video here. Stop sharing your screen. So any questions? I know I went through a lot, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I already see some
That's good.
in the chat, and I want to echo those thanks because yeah, this is so helpful. I mean, I learned new things too, but yeah, the ability to search for literature and kind of think about two things you're interested in, that's one of the great things, because if you have an interest based on your current research area, obviously you're going to want to read about that, but maybe you have an idea based on what you're currently doing and how you can apply it somewhere else. And I think that's where searching becomes inspiring and powerful. And then of course, it's just, it's often useful for assignments. So thank you so much for all of that great specific advice.
Well, you all are so welcome. And please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. So if you want to set up an appointment or if you have any questions, you can't access anything, please reach out to me. So now we are going to be transitioning to a new catalog. And Annalise, I don't know if you've seen this in Lolita, but we're going to be transitioning to a new catalog, UC Library Search. So Melville is going away. But if you can't get access to anything, don't stress out. Just, shoot Melinda an email and I'll try to work some magic.
Yeah. The biggest take home message here is that there's Melinda and other people who will help you.
Exactly. And guys, don't forget to do the survey for me. So yes.
Great. Was there a link? Can you redrop that?
Yes, I can. It is on the guide. I can definitely pop it in the chat because it'll probably be much easier if I would just pop that in the chat right quick, because it'd probably be easier for people to do it if they're in the chat.
Great, good. Thanks. See it there. Thanks. So you guys take a few minutes, fill out that survey to give Melinda some feedback. And thank you again for your time and effort today.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Enjoy the program and reach out to me if you get stuck. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right. Bye, Lolita. I got to run to something else, but great to see you. Nice to see you.
Bye-bye. You as well. Thank you.
Bye.
Let's see. Okay, we're down. All right. Oh, Michaela.